We've all been through it before. You know, one of those presentations where you'd rather take a bullet than read another bullet point on a slide? Turns out it's not your fault, or even the presenter's fault for that matter. It's actually because our brains are hardwired in a certain way, and unless you're a psychologist or a researcher, you would never know these 4 scientific reasons why our brains reject bullet points. Lucky for you, after watching this, you'll also know exactly how to make your presentations awesome. Let's get started, shall we? Problem number 1, the redundancy effect. Turns out our brain isn't able to process the same information efficiently when you see and hear the same thing at the same time. It's too much info at once. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where the doctor explains how Mr. Burns isn't sick because there are so many diseases trying to get through all at once. Oh, poor Mr. Burns. Problem number 2, the picture superiority effect. That's PSI for short. No, not this PSI. Now, researchers have found ideas are more likely to be remembered if they're presented as visuals instead of words. After 3 days, you only remember about 10% of what someone says. Compare that to remembering 65% if they showed you a visual. That's 6.5 times more memory with a visual. Problem number 3, people read faster than they hear. Now, people can read about 275 words a minute versus being able to hear only 150 words a minute. This means people will read your bullet points before you can say them, and then they'll stop listening. Want to turn your audience into a bunch of zombies? Use bullet points. Problem number 4, working memory limits. Recent studies show that people only have a memory capacity of about 4 chunks of information at a time. Each and every bullet point is an extra step on a ladder you're forcing your audience to climb. So stop it. So in conclusion, Mr. Burns, PSI, zombie, ladder? Well, not quite. But at least in 3 days, you should still remember 65% of this presentation since we used visuals. Yeah, you see what we did there? So how do you make better presentations? Well, there are 2 simple rules that solve all of the 4 problems. Rule number 1, use less text. No more bullet points, pretty please. And rule number 2, use more visuals. That's really all there is to it. Oh, one final thought. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, doing an animated presentation with PowerPoin is priceless.
Created using PowerPoin.